Yo, what's up, guys? My name is Kaiki Silva. In this video, I want to talk about how I dropped out of school, high school, at 17 years old, and how my life changed 4 years from then. Okay, I'm 21 years old now. I'm turning 22 in September. I want to lay out what I learned through these years. If you're younger than me, if you're younger than 21 years old, I think this video might help you navigate some life choices that you are eventually going to have to make as you get older. If you are older than me, this video might be interesting to you. If you just want to learn my thought process and see how a young buck is doing in today's world, right? So I'm just going to queue up ones right here, have some Rocket League playing. I'm playing live right now. Reason why I dropped out of high school was to help pay the bills, okay? I lost my father at 15 years old, and before that, I had a very good life. He provided me with everything. He got me my first PS2 when I was 6 years old. He got me a PS3, a PS4, so on and so on. And I would spend countless hours just playing video games. And he would encourage me to do so. He would buy new games for me, and he would just be happy that I'm happy. He was that type of father. He just wanted to see his family and his son happy. And then at 15, everything changed. And that was like the beginning, my sophomore year of high school. Save that. Where are you going, kid? Yeah, so that was my sophomore year of high school when I lost him. And from that day on, everything has changed. And I don't know if it has changed for the better or for the worse. Some days I'm grateful that I lost my father because it made me who I am today. But I also miss him, dearly. And, you can never truly decide if the trade-off was worth it or not. And so, yeah, I lost him at 15, and then I struggled, man. I would skip school, and then at 16 years old, my junior year, 17 years old, my junior year came around in high school, and I had to help with the bills now. I had to get my first job, and my first job was it was just cleaning. It was just cleaning random stuff, cleaning dentist's office with my uncle-in-law. I would also just clean toilets off of gym. I used to work at a gym, just cleaning. And that got me to the gym as well. So when I was working at the gym, I actually got a membership for free because I was working there. So I used that to, enhance my discipline and just get physically more active. Oh, you actually got that. Um, where was I? So, yeah, my first job was just cleaning gyms, toilets, and stuff. And I used to do that on the weekends. Okay, so my schedule my junior year, I would go to school from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. And then I would also have these odd jobs on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 5 p.m. through 7 p.m. And I would do that after school. And it kind of took away a lot of time I had to hang out with friends and just do high school things as a kid, Um, and so that was also something I struggled with, when I lost my father, just having time with friends. I used to hang out a lot. I used to have a lot of friends before my father passed, and after he passed, everything just changed after that. And if I'm stuttering, guys, I'm sorry. This is like it's a hard topic for me to talk about because it's a sensitive topic. So please bear with me if my speech is not the greatest here. And so I would also work on weekends too. So I technically didn't have a day off in high school. I would go to school Monday through Friday, and on weekends I would work at the gym, just like cleaning toilets and stuff. So I basically didn't have a day off, and for my days off, I would usually have to skip school. I was tired of just, waking up at like 5 a.m. every day to go to school and go to work. And I missed being a kid at that point. I was still a kid. I was 16, 17. And so I would just skip school intentionally because, I just wanted some rest. I don't know. It was a new life for me. And I don't know, I was struggling. So I skipped school a lot. There was this point in my life where I skipped school for 2 weeks straight. And it was at that point that I knew that something had to change. I would come home and I would just be feeling empty. My mom would be at work and I have a sister as well. She struggled as well, and I would just feel empty. So I knew something had to change, but I didn't know what. And at that point, I knew I had to make a change, and so I decided to leave school. I set up a meeting with the guidance counselor at the school I was in, and I told her, basically what's happening, how we have to pay bills, how I lost my father, and she understood. And well, she didn't understand. She kind of pushed back a bit, saying this is a bad idea, but I didn't listen because I wanted to go help pay the bills. So at 17, I dropped out, and I went into construction. Okay, so that was my second job. Second job was construction. Specifically, it was flooring. Okay, so I did flooring for about a year or so. And then I got promoted to an office job. Okay, now this office job was in the same company, but it was more of like a project management / sales role. And I really actually enjoyed the construction work. Okay, it was like physically demanding. I actually very enjoyed it a lot because I would get home and it was like kind of a workout, and I would be like in new places, learning new things. And overall, it was a pleasant experience. And then I got promoted to office job because this other guy, he left. And we needed a new salesperson or a new project management person. I'm like, the boss came to my house and he told me, hey, you want to fill this position in? And I'm like, fine, let's do it. And I did that for about a year. And in that position, in that role, I had a lot of free time. It was an office job, right? So I'll be in the office from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. And that's when I first got introduced to like online making money, Andrew Tate, all that type of stuff. I brought Andrew Tate's course, believe it or not, Hustlers University. This was like when it was first ever starting. And he had a course on dropshipping. And I took that course and I spent about like $2,000 on Facebook ads to try and launch products. I would test a lot of products during that time frame. It was like 6-8 months that I was in the office job. And I did that drop shipping thing for about like 3 or 4 months, and it didn't really quite work that well. I just lost money. But then I learned a valuable skill, which was marketing and advertising, Facebook ads. And that got me into another business model, which was marketing, social media marketing agency. If you guys know, you know. And so I got into that, and what I did specifically was I set up a system for the company I was working with, because obviously that company, they needed new jobs, they needed new leads, and I had that skill to acquire new leads and new jobs for them. And I'm like, why? Let's try this out. I spoke to the owner. I'm like, I can try to get you guys new jobs, new leads, and he's like, okay, let's try it out. And so we did that, and it was actually successful. We got a lot of leads, we got a lot of work, and I'm like, wait, hold on. If I can do this for this company, I can do this for companies worldwide, because this is fully online. This is fully remote. I'm doing this from my computer. And so I decided to just leave the office job and just start my own marketing business for the flooring companies to help them get more business. And that's what I did. And in my first 2 months, I went 1 month without making any money. And then in my second month, I made like $400 closing like a trial client. And then from that point on, that gave me like a case study, because the system actually worked, right? It was a very good product that I was building there. And in my third month, I closed my first client, I think was $2K a month. And from that point on, it was all $2K a month, and I wouldn't make any less from that point on, I think. And then that was around March of like 2023 or something. And then December 2023, around like 6 or 8, 7 months after starting the business, I hit my first 10K, and it felt amazing. I was helping a lot of people. I was talking to like millionaires, and I was working like hard as hell to my whole days was just build a business, go to the gym. And that was what my days consisted of. That was it. And, I enjoyed it. It felt like a video game to me. And then fast forward to 2024. Okay, so December 2023, I had 10K in 1 month. And then 2024, I kind of just plateaued. I went back down to like 2, 3, 4, 5K a month. And I kind of just plateaued. I was pretty comfortable during that time period. and 2024 comes around, and October comes around actually. Yeah, October it was. And I realized I needed to change something because I'm just plateaued. I'm just making 2, 3, 4, 5K in a month. I wanted to reach new heights. And so I actually like locked in. I eliminated every single distraction from my life, which was X, Clash Royale, social media, removed all of that, which I previously did. Like before I left my the office job and to start my own business, I quit all social media because it was all distractions to me. You know, if you're just consuming all this media, you're not going to be focused on on your actual life, what you actually want to build. You know, and so I quit that before did my office job, and then so what happened was, and so October I decided to lock in, just fully go raw at like everything, and that's what I did. And October, November, I hit my highest months yet. I made like 10K. I made 8K in 1 month, 10K the next month. It was the most money I was ever making in my life, and it was the most opportunistic period of my life. I was like getting super jacked in the gym. I was getting a lot of attention. I was like so focused on my goals. Life felt amazing at this point. But then next month comes around, which was a couple more months comes around, which was December, January, beginning of 2025. And for some reason, I just completely fell apart. I just like, I did so many things. I cut off so many things in my life to achieve the goal of making the money and improving my business and working with top tier clients, that I just fully crashed like the next couple of months. And I legit couldn't get myself to do any work anymore. It was like I used all my power. And then I found myself returning to video games, something I cut off at 17 when I quit high school, to, you know, pay the bills, build the business, just do useful stuff in the economy, right? I cut off video games because that wasn't conducive to my goals. But here's the thing, video games were a part of me ever since I was 6 years old, and I cut that off. And so I found myself just returning to video games after like 4 years, 5 years of not playing in it. And I'm like, why am I chasing money when it's not really me? It's not really who I am. Who I am has been a part of me all along, and I cut it all off. And I'm seeing all these people online. They have careers off of video games. They you know, these content creators, they make content playing video games. I'm like, why can't that be me? Why do I have to go build a business? Something that's like, you know, I can do it, sure, but it's not something I really want to do. It's not who I am. And so I decided to just burn the business down, you know? After making all the money in the world, working with multimillionaires, doing all that type of stuff, having a full system, I just, you know, just decided to just stop. And that's what I did. Came back to video games, and here I am now, 2026, I mean, what am I saying? So last year, I actually spent like 9 whole months grinding League of Legends. You can see on my YouTube, okay? And I reached Emerald rank, which is pretty impressive, I got told, in only 9 months of playing. But then I quit that again because, you know, I just got bored. And then I came back to another job because I needed some more money. I got back into construction again. Did that for like 2 months. Then I quit that again because I'm not fucking doing that shit. I just needed some money. It was just like a part-time thing. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that for my whole life. And my father, he did that for 12 years, doing construction, working flooring, and he died at 39 years old because he was working with all these chemicals. That's not something he would want for me. That's not something I would want for myself, to be working in these conditions. He wanted something much better for me. And that's what I'm chasing now, you know, trying to build a career off something that I actually love, something that's actually mine. And that is video games. That is content creation. I have this video in my camera roll from like when Clash Royale first came out. That was my first ever video. I figured out how to screen record my phone. It was this app, this jailbroken app, I think. and I have that video still on my phone. I made like a custom intro. So I've been doing this ever since a kid, and I just cut it all off to build a business. Now, who knows where this is going to take me? Now, I know for a fact that this is going to be successful, this venture of mine. It's just a matter of time, right? I'm not going to quit this. This is literally what I'm trying to do, and I've proven in my life that I can build stuff from zero over and over and over again. From zero. I quit high school, I built a business. I can just do this. This is like part of my DNA. I get it from my father. And so if you guys want to stick with the journey, hit that subscribe, because this is going to pop one way or another. And the work will prove that. But, who knows where I'll be in like 10, 20 years. I might have more business. I might own a lot of businesses. I might just keep doing this. Who knows? But, yeah, that's kind of currently my life story. I'm sure I missed like a lot of details. I'm sure I included a lot of details that were unnecessary. Yeah, but I thank you guys for watching this. Hopefully this gave you some insight. Thank you so much for watching. Hit that sub button. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.